Ali, I can still hear you, by the way. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to another great night in terms of this amazing night of Ramadan. I just want to say for the last 2-3 days, I hope you've really had some amazing experiences, inshallah, in terms of the last Laylatul Qadr. And just to touch on that just a little bit, we still have, some time left in terms of what we're doing. These nights are really amazing because these are really the nights of apportionment. And what that means is literally Allah setting down what's going to happen for you in the next year. Regardless of what's going on in your life, regardless of what's happening, I can honestly tell you that it's just, for me, I've had a lot of just hardship in the last year, but at the end of the day, there's a moment when things just come about, and there's a moment in the middle of the whole storm, and you just kind of sit there and you see what's happening to you. And when you do that, there's a place where you can go in your heart. And I promise you, if you practice this, you'll get there. There's a place where you can touch, where you see nothing but beauty, regardless of the event, regardless of what's happening. It doesn't matter what the situation is. I swear to you, if you just practice this enough, inna ma'al usri yusra, and it says this in the Quran, surely with hardship there is ease. Okay, so it's a compound. Okay, so you're going to experience the hardship, but then you're going to experience the ease, and Allah Azza wa Jal will push you to the edge of what's happening. He'll push you to Ibrahim alayhi salam when he was when he was tested with Ismail. The knife got to his throat. In terms of these kinds of, look how far Allah will take you, then the relief will come. So on these kinds of things, it's amazing when you can, before the relief comes, you can touch emotions that are so euphoric, it's unbelievable. In the middle of pain, you can find pleasure. It's there. Trust me. You can touch it, and it's incredible if you learn how to do that. So all I want to tell you, these nights are the way to build that part of you. It's to be able to take on a challenge, welcome it, embrace it, hold it, and say, you know what? I'm not letting you go. You are mine. These kinds of things exist, trust me, and you can fall in love with life to that extent that no trial, tribulation, challenge, situation, it doesn't matter. You can stand up in front of any mountain and you can make it shake. So that's how the world can be taken, and you could take over the world in terms of that kind of aspect. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he said, az-zuhd bi-ikhfa' az-zuhd. So to actually not feel, to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Indifferent towards the world. In terms of these kinds of things, it's incredible to be indifferent. He says, Imam Ali says, don't cry over what you have lost, and don't be so happy with what you have gained. That's the mere understanding and the mere essence of indifference, where the heart doesn't move. I gain $1, it doesn't move. I don't get $1, it doesn't move. I'm stable in who I am. My emotions in terms of who I am are stable. That's incredible when you can think like that. Now, regardless of this whole thing in terms of when you can take on challenges, the reason why I'm beginning like this, because these nights will literally give you the challenges that Allah is going to set. Ask Allah for the best challenges that will develop you in the highest level, where you feel what? At your best form, and you take yourself to the highest level. Now, what a lot of us face, and we've talked about in terms of skill set and challenge before, what a lot of us face is when the challenge comes, we don't know how to deal with the challenge. We don't know how to take it on. So now what tonight and these nights, you can really take yourself to a whole nother level. Ask for the right challenges. Ask Allah, please I have to solve problems, situations, challenges in my life in the next year. Give me the best ones. Put the best people in my life. Send me mentors. Send me guidance in terms of people who can help me get to the next level. Ask for these things. And number one thing you should ask for is what? Knowledge. Knowledge and wisdom. Rabbi zidni ilma. In the Quran, in terms of states like that. Okay, so on that level, what I want you to understand is taking yourself to that point and setting yourself up to a whole nother level. So now, why are challenges so needed in terms of what we talked about before? We have a skill set and a challenge. In terms of we talked about that presentation. If you can go back and do that. Tonight, I want to tell you the after effects of a challenge. So tonight, we're talking about the third level. That's the third part of the lecture series. In terms of why you need to pray. So when you have value is after the challenge. When you gain and you beat the challenge, that's where you get value. Value exists after the challenge. Imam Hussein alayhi salam lost his life. One can say easily that he lost. What are you talking about? Really? Assess it further. Assess the true essence when the body is gone, but the principles live. It's about the ideas. It's about these kinds of things. That's really what it is. And when a person understands that, it's about principle. And when you understand that it's about principle, and you understand that it's at the end of the day, when these things happen and they happen properly, and you take yourself to the highest level, this is what happens. You get yourself to a point of terms of value. Value is everything. Value of Imam Hussein came after his challenge. It didn't come after what? Before his challenge. It came after. He had to go through and push. Now, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, 10 years stayed. Didn't go after Muawiyah. Didn't do anything. The only reason Imam Hussein stood up was because Muawiyah had passed and Yazid took over. Now the religion is in danger in terms of what was going on. So a lot of people think about Imam Hassan, why didn't he stand up? Imam Hussein didn't stand up for a while. He didn't just right away. No. The Imams knew what they were doing. They knew what was happening. So now, tonight, we talked about the first one in terms of the aspects of prayer, why we need the essence of prayer in terms of these kinds of things. I'm going to take you back here in terms of what we talked about. Well, it's going to be a little too long because I have these points set up. But last time we talked about in terms of al-intima, meaning having a sense of belonging. The night before that, we talked about al-bawh, disclosure, at-tanfis, to be able to disclose and let go. The third night is tonight. We're gonna what? Talk about al-taqdeer, to be valued. What does that mean to be valued? And we have a psychological side and we have a religious side. Before I begin, let's start things the right way. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Abul Qasim Muhammad wa ala ali baytihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. Amazing book here as well. It's called Switch, and excellent book. I think you should, any one of these books that I'm recommending have great value in terms of these kinds of things. It's a great book if you really want to get, it's how to change things when change is hard. So it's an excellent thing in terms of what we're doing. All right, let's move forward in terms of the intro. All right, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wa alihi says, al-mu'min yu'laf. He says, in terms of this, it's incredible. Okay, so on this level, it says a believer who loves and has beloved. Okay, and is beloved. It shouldn't say his beloved. Okay, and is beloved. We all seek that value. We want that love, care, and attention. And you're going to see the psychology of this and how important this is. Okay, now, when we do this right and we feel like we are loved and cared for as a child, and I want to warn a lot of parents here in terms of these kinds of things. If you are a person who kind of leaves their kids alone and you leave them in a crib and let them cry, you're really hurting them. I'm telling you this from right now. Okay, they're learning how to attach at these very young ages, and they need attachment to survive. So reptiles don't attach. They drop their young and they leave. Birds, they attach. The baby bird needs to attach to the mother. Okay, there's a caregiving system that's established. The baby won't survive without the mother. Human beings have the longest dependence period of any creature that is on the face of this earth. Okay, so we're all in dependence. On these kinds of levels, in terms of dependence, you have to understand that when that child is attaching to you, you can develop many different things in terms of secure or an insecure child at that point. And then when they attach, when they don't feel like they've gotten the love, the care, attention, okay? And when they don't feel like a caretaker, which is a father or mother, okay, is available and helpful, meaning when they call out that someone's gonna help them, they're available when they need them, and they're gonna help them, and they're gonna help them solve their problem. They're gonna create a lot of insecurities when they attach later in their life. That's what happens. So when these things happen, and these things set up to another level, the child becomes secure. That means when they later on, in terms of their relationships, what happens is this: when they attach to another person, they actually, which is an intimate relationship, they're okay when the person's not there, and they're okay when the person is not there. Okay, it means that they're not clingy. They don't have these insecurities in terms of constantly needing validation from others. They're not a victim. They don't play the victim roles. These things are huge in terms of just the love aspect. I'm not going to go any further into that, but if you guys want to study that, go into attachment theory. Attachment theory has been around for a very long time. Study that, but love is an essential ingredient for relationships and being able to create relationships and push them to a whole nother level. Now, let's move further. Okay, every person needs someone to love them. Okay, to be loved by your family, friends, even strangers. Okay, that we need. It's a must for a healthy personality. And psychology, everything across the world has that. Okay, a person will tolerate hunger, thirst, poverty, but a person can't tolerate not being loved. They'll literally kill themselves in terms of these kinds of things. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's the essential ingredient for your health. Psychological, emotional health. It's the essence of it, being loved. So now, psychology. All right, so watch this. Please pay attention to this. Here's a 15-year Harvard study, and this is what it indicated. So then it gave 3 identifying principles of an identity. Okay, so when the core of your identity and who you are. All right, so number 1, when you are actually, if you have a healthy personality, you're going to have these 3 principles. All right, so these 3 principles are going to be pretty much, number 1, you're going to be set up to get to a point where you're going to be able to understand who you are, how you think, how everything is. But then at the end of the day, here's what happens. If you have these 3 principles intact, 1, 2, and 3, here's what happens. Number 1 is having a healthy what? Personality. That's what we're trying to reach. But the number one thing here is what? Am I competent enough? Am I a person who has competence? Can I do that? Can I get myself to that stage? Number 2, am I a good or a bad person? These are 3 main things that sink an identity in terms of who you are. And number 3 is, and here it is, okay? Am I worthy of love, care, or attention? That's the way it works. So now, when you do that and you do that properly, And we go through these three things. Okay, my thinking, am I a good or bad person? Here, am I worthy of love, care, and attention? Okay, again, it's part of your core in terms of an identity. It's your core. It's who you are. You need this. This is an ingredient. We need love to fill us constantly. Okay, there's a great book, and it's called The 5 Love Languages. Trust me, underneath love is security. You have to feel secure and able to be loved. When you are afraid and you're constantly, you distrust people, you will never touch that. People will be afraid of you because you're going to be afraid of people. To be vulnerable is to be loved. And watch how that's going to set up in terms of when you get to the religious side. And when you are loved by Allah, what happens? And when you love Allah, what happens? That is incredible. The ultimate strength is there. رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه ذلك الفوز العظيم. It's incredible. Now, I'm not there yet, but it's just to give you a prelude of before these things happen. It's incredible, guys. It's incredible what kind of identity you can create. It's incredible. All right. Being loved is an essential part. Now watch this. Watch again. Watch what psychology says about, we're going to move into what is the essence of feeling these kinds of things. Okay, I'm going to come back to this slide. I'm not going to go further. But guys, I want you to see this. There was actually a study that was done in Russia, and they actually left babies without touching them, caring for them, changing them, doing everything, but they didn't experience any love, care, or attention. The babies had passed on. They passed away in terms of these kinds of studies. I'm not going to go into the ethical side of the study. I'm just showing you how essential, okay, to be nurtured. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says in the first 7 years, be a caretaker, okay? There's a reason for it. Now the science is showing us that what Rasulullah said was 100% correct. Now we don't need psychology to believe in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We already know who he is. But at the end of the day, psychology is catching up to principles we already have. So all I'm saying to you, it's again, I'm just showing you the essence of who you are. Part of that is to be loved. Now, religion, watch this. When you are in prayer and to actually be loved by an ultimate source, okay? So Allah Azza wa Jal has created us for what? Min lutfihi, from his what? From his compassion, and he wanted to be known. Allah wanted to be known in terms of these kinds of things. He wanted to show us, okay, wow, look at my ability, look what I can do. Allah doesn't need us for anything. We need Allah for everything. So, but it's an amazing concept when you really think about that. Okay, so during prayer, okay, you stand and you feel like you are in the arms of a merciful God who is tending and caring for your emotional, psychological states. That's what happens to you. When you can reach these things, the world has deserted you. You stand on your prayer mat and your heart shakes. But it shakes because it's in the hands of Allah. It's incredible when that happens. Incredible. So now, prayer turns into a love ritual and a fulfillment to your emotional voids. That's what it will do. I guarantee you, if you utilize prayer properly, you stand in the middle of the night. That love that you feel, it's incredible when you stand in front of Allah and you actually feel that though. It's when, guys, when you study the brain, you start understanding how a neuron fires, okay? A neuron, literally from dendrites to the cell body, to the axion channel, to the axon helix, to the axon channel, to the axon, to the actual, to the terminal, to the axon terminals, to the vesicles, to the neurotransmitters, to the synapse, to the receptors on the other side of a what? Another neuron. Imagine that neuron, what I just described, all these, and it goes through electrical charges and then chemical releases. So it works on electrical and chemical signals. All that That's one neuron. One neuron. There's 100 billion in your brain, as I told you before. Okay, almost 100 billion neurons. Guys, I want to say something to you and really be listening, please. Out of those, it's almost 100 billion cells in your brain. I want you to guess, just guess, how many of those cells, I want you to guess how many of those cells are actually dopaminergic, which is the dopamine system within the brain, are actually dopamine cells or dopamine circuits. I want you to just guess right now. I'm going to give you like 30 seconds or 10 seconds. But just right now, think in your brain, out of 100 billion cells, 100 billion, okay, how many of those circuits or cells are actually dopamine circuits? Some would say 10 million, or I'm sorry, 10 billion. So I've gotten some crazy answers. Whenever I ask this question, you get some crazy answers. Guys, here's the answer. I just want to show you how small it is to actually gain happiness in this world. It's not easy in terms of if you don't have the right components and you don't know how to trigger your brain properly. 400,000. 400,000 out of 100 billion. Those are the circuits. There's 4 circuits of the dopamine circuits. There's 4 circuits within the brain. Now, all I'm saying to you, it's very difficult if you do not what? Learn how to release these things. I'm not going to go into depression. I'm not going to go into these things from serotonin to epinephrine to neuropeptides to all these things. We're not going there in terms of that. All I'm saying to you is learn that your brain is wired for a certain thing, and Allah has put this thing together. And when you fire it properly, when you fire everything properly in terms of getting yourself to the next stage, my God, what can happen? Now, prayer can fill those voids. It can fire those circuits. And if it can fire those circuits, and now you got that, if you connect prayer and you embed it into that neuron, and as soon as you get on the prayer mat and you get in front of Allah and you go into sujood, your heart starts to move. It starts releasing certain those dopamine circuits start what? Firing. And when they start firing, imagine what happens to what? Your emotional states. And now it's taken over. And now you set yourself up and you're in the hands of complete safety. There's no fear in the heart. That's incredible. So now, when I also feel like when you're in this stage, I also feel like I'm in the hands of what? Exactly. Of one who loves me. And it states in the Holy Quran, اذكروني أذكركم. Remember me and I will remember you. If you do an atom's weight of good, you're going to see it. Allah says, pray to me. أقيموا الصلاة لذكري. Establish prayer. So you what? You remember me. You remember me. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, Inna Allah ja'ala dhikr jila'an lil qulub. Allah has made his remembrance a softness, a tranquility, a enlightenment for the heart. And your heart, when it hits that, your heart will obey with what Allah wants. It will be directed. It will attach to what Allah wants. You will see what Allah wants. You will hear what Allah wants. Everything around you will come into, you have a gravitational pull to what pleases Allah Azza wa Jal. If you establish these things properly. If you remember Allah when you're in time of need, He will remember you. If you remember Allah when you're in time of giving, He will remember you. When you remember every single thought, imagine every cell in your body, in your brain, every cell has one small part in it that has Allah's name in it. Every single cell, and you're constantly in dhikr. Wow. Wow. Now, whenever you do good, I will compensate you, okay, and give you even more than you deserve. Okay. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, كم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا لها نشرته. له لست أهلا له نشرته. There are so many things that I don't deserve that you've spread out into the world. Okay, and how many things that I've done wrong that you've covered. Okay, Allah Azza wa Jal, one of His name is what? Sattarul Ayub. He covers you. When you do something wrong, He doesn't reveal who you are. He doesn't reveal your true essence. That there's a hadith, I can't remember which imam, but they're all the same. So it says, if you were to show my truth to even my closest relatives, they would run away from me. They wouldn't want to be around me. But you cover me, Ya Allah. You protect me. You don't allow me to be exposed to the things I don't want to be exposed to. I don't want people to know certain things about me. And all of us are like that. But Allah covers you. He doesn't allow things to hurt you. He doesn't allow things to harm you. It may look to you like you don't have control or power over certain situations. But trust me, on the other side, He's got your hand. And He will come to you. He's always there. You just don't see it. It's your perspective that's got to shift. All right. So watch this. And God says to me, pray, and I will what? Live with you in your prayers, so you may feel accepted, loved, clear, and what? Tranquil. When this happens and you understand this is what happens. ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. When your heart touches that and it touches it properly, I guarantee you, there is nothing on the face of this earth. There is nothing in this universe. There is nothing that has ever existed that will give you more pleasure than this. Nothing. I promise you. What cocaine does in the brain is it blocks the dopamine receptors and enhances dopamine. So there's a synapse. So a synapse is a gap between two cells, okay? From an axon terminal to a dendrite, okay? So it's a small little gap, and certain chemical neurotransmitters are released in that gap. What cocaine does is it enters that synapse, and on this side it blocks. So dopamine will be flowing across from one side to the next. When that happens and you release that, the cocaine goes into the synapse, that gap, and it has chemicals in the cocaine that will block these receptors. So the dopamine stays longer where in the actual synapse. So you get high, you stay high, and you stay like that. Okay, why? Because it's working on your natural systems that Allah has already put into place. That's what it's doing. Now, what it does also is it increases the flow from this neuron, and it releases more dopamine. So now it's keeping the dopamine for a longer period of time in between your receptors. But what it does is it starts damaging your brain, where you can't even feel the smallest amount of pleasure. This is what drugs, this is what cocaine, this is what weed, it's, to me, it's unbelievable when someone comes up and says, you know what, weed is okay, it's a natural thing, and it's just I'm like, oh my God, like, do you understand what you're saying? Do you listen, at the end of the day, you do what you want. It's up to you. You want to harm yourself, you want to listen, all these chemicals already exist inside your body. They're already there. You can produce them on your own through your thinking process. It's just, what do you program into your brain where you don't need an outside stimulant? That's the way it works. You don't need drugs. You don't need amphetamines. You don't need any of these things, because the systems are already inside of you. All drugs do is decrease, inhibit, or excite those synaptic connections. That's all they do. That's how they work. That's how your brain works. So you can release these things. أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبِ. Allah's telling you, it's not by drugs, by alcohol, by turning off your brain. No, turn it on properly. Turn it on and set it up right with the right thought process. And the emotions you will feel is like a light that expands in your heart, and nothing can touch you. Nothing in this world in terms of the feelings that you gain. That's beautiful. When you can do that. Your brain is designed to help you. Don't make it a weapon to hurt you. That's what you will do to yourself. When you go towards these things, that's what you're doing. And don't justify and lie to yourself. Most people, that's what they do. We justify and we lie to ourselves and we tell ourselves it's okay. I'm going to be fine. No, you're not. You're going down the wrong road and you know it. And these nights make that change. And if you know someone who needs to, talk to them. The antidote is with Allah. The antidote is already inside of you because He has placed Himself inside of you. And the foot, His fingerprints, His logo is stamped on your heart. And all you have to do is go in. Dare to go in. I dare you. Go inside of yourself and look at your truth and who you are. I dare you to do that. If you're man enough or you're a woman enough to actually go inside, take your flashlight into the darkness of the abyss and shine it and say, you know what? I'm not afraid of who I am. And this is my truth. And this is what I have to change. And this is what I have to do. I dare you to do that. If you can hold that, I dare you to do that and see if you can do it. Now, let's move forward. إنما المؤمنين الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم. So watch. وإذا تتلى عليه آياته زادتهم إيمانا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون. So in this, when they hear now Allah, this is the dopamine circuits again. When they hear Allah being mentioned, wajilat, their hearts palpitate. It moves. And what? وَإِذَا تُتْلَى, it's amazing. It actually feeds their soul even more. They actually believe in terms of these kinds of things even more. Imagine the value now, a taqdeer that you feel. When you are valued, not by your teacher, not by your mother, not by your father, not by your brothers, not by, no one can give you the self-worth. No one. Nothing can give you this except for Allah Azza wa Jal. وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. We have what? Raised your name. He's talking to Allah, to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. أَلَمْ نَشْرَحْ لَكَ صَدْرَكَ وَوَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ الَّذِي أَنْقَضَ وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. And we have raised your name. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi his name is the #1 name in the world right now. That was over 1400 years ago. How do you do that? How? And he's still today, his wave is still growing. How does that happen? That's incredible in terms of a name. When Allah wants to market your name, no one can put you down. No one. And you will stand and you will sign history and no one can remove it. No one can remove that signature. No one, because Allah will guarantee it. On that level, find Allah in terms of who you are. You will go back to your own identity. You have to do that. Now, so you can get to this point. And those who are, okay, I'm going to leave that. An-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, as-salatu mi'raj al-mu'min. Prayer is what? It's the ascension for a believer. It's the heart. I'm telling you, all these, you want the chemicals to be flowing right into your whole system? Do that and watch what happens. It's incredible what happens. Now, I want to take you to the last slide that I skipped. And I want to show you this in terms of now what prayer does in terms of these kinds of things. Prayer and meditation can help individuals, watch this, sleep better, okay? Cope with some symptoms associated with mental disorders like depression and anxiety. Listen to what I'm saying, okay? Reduce some psychological difficulties associated with chronic pain. It's morphine in terms of that. When it's generated, there's enzymes in your body that generate this stuff that are connected to proteins. Guys, look into some biopsych. it's incredible what they're finding out in the brain in terms of how these things work. Please don't lose yourself. Please don't lose your identity and who you are. If you are on the brink tonight and you are on the point where you're not moving to where you need to be, you don't have the mental health that's there. You don't have the physical health. You don't have the emotional health. You don't have any one of these things, okay? And life has just really hit you so hard. I'm telling you, just tonight, with your heart, pray. With your heart, not your body, okay? The body becomes mechanical. You don't want to do that. You want to what? You want to pray where your heart goes into sujood. That's what you want to do. Not your body. Your heart goes into ruku'. Not your body. That's what you want to get to. Now, when that, and you have that presence of heart, and it touches what it needs to, and you start pressing the right buttons inside your heart, and then a channel opens. And a new feeling in your heart arises. And it's like a little spark. And you start feeding it little by little by little, and it starts growing. I'm telling you, there's a taste that will be in your mouth that will be completely different. When you taste food, it will taste different. When you care for someone, it will care different. When you love someone, it will love different. Everything about your whole being will change. And now even improve some cognitive and behavioral functions. I'm not going to go into that. I can give a whole presentation on the last line. But guys, please, in terms of tonight and setting yourself up as a person, if you are a person, like I told you, who's gone through a lot, and you've gone through, let's say, as they say, hell and back, tonight, it's an opportunity. Tomorrow is another opportunity. The rest of this month, every night is an opportunity. Please hold on to your faith. Grab it. Because Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, your soul should be traded for only one thing that is worth the value of your soul, which is what? Heaven. That's the only thing. Don't lose this world and lose the hereafter. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.